In the series of Jujutsu Kaisen, obtaining the rank of a special grade sorcerer is no easy feat to obtain. The sorcerers with the rank of special grade have been proven to be the strongest characters in the modern day era. They have displayed amazing feats, battle IQ, prowess, hand-to-hand combat, and unusual abilities, leaving them to be the most feared characters in the series. We have been introduced to 4 special grade sorcerers, one being GOJO, the first sorcerer in over 1,000 years to have both the 6 eyes and the limitless curse technique, placing him as the strongest sorcerer of modern day. We were introduced to Suguru Geto with the unusual ability of curse manipulation, where he can consume and control curses. We were introduced to Yuki, who has the ability of Star Rage, which is her adding mass to her body, increasing her physical prowess to levels that defy physics, and the one and only Yuta, who was cursed by his ex-lover Rika. Then later on in Volume 0, we found out he was the reason why she was cursed, and he was a descendant from Gojo's clan. Yuta, being a young sorcerer, was able to kill off and defeat Geto in his introduction in the Volume 0 series. But when it comes to these characters, and you take out Satoru Gojo, because everybody knows Gojo is the strongest, it leads a strong debate between who are the strongest sorcerers in the special grade rank between Geto, Yuki, and Yuta. With Yuta already defeating Geto, it only leaves the last sorcerer, Yuki. In today's video, we will discuss a matchup between Yuki and Yuta, and how I believe this fight isn't as close as everybody thinks, or as one-sided as people believe it to be. How I'm going to break down this video, we're going to do a brief introduction of both characters, and after the introduction, we'll break down their abilities, statements, and feats that were shown in the series, and then we'll put this all together and how the final battle between these two will play out, who will win, and also the wildcard factors that can play a role in this battle. We were introduced to Yuki, chapter 77, page 2. This meeting between Yuki and Geto took place after Geto and Gojo were spanked by the GOAT, TOJI. After facing such a humiliating defeat and failing their mission to protect Rico, the former star plasma vessel, Geto was left in a state of distraught and depression. His mind was freshly wounded and he was very fragile at this moment. She introduced herself as the useless special grade that doesn't go on missions because she will rather invest her time in her research and figuring out how to remove cursed energy from humans. Yuki didn't see the sense of fighting the symptoms of cursed spirits. She wanted to get down to the root cause, which is humans' negative energies create the cursed spirits that they are constantly at war with. She wanted to remove the root cause to make a better world for humans and the sorcerers. This conversation with Yuki planted the seeds in Geto's mind to kill off all the humans in the world to make a better place for Jujutsu sorcerers. But that's not the only person that Yuki influenced. She also influenced a fan favorite character, Todo. Todo has been an exceptional role model and mentor to Yuji, teaching the ways of Jujutsu and the ideology that is needed to keep fighting. Todo's mindset comes from his master, Yuki. Yuki met Todo when he was young and saw the raw potential in him as a sorcerer and continued to train him until he became one of the strongest characters in the series with his amazing ability Boogie Woogie. Todo, in my opinion, was the MVP of the Shibuya incident. When Yuji had his mental breakdown, it was Todo that walked in using the ideology that he learned from Yuki to pick Yuji up and continue to fight against Mahito, even allowing Yuji to land the finishing blow to finally defeat Mahito, his rival. Yuki makes her return at the end of the Shibuya incident. This is where her battle with Kenjaku was foreshadowed, when both characters shared their imposing views of cursed energy. Kenjaku wanted to optimize cursed energy, while Yuki wanted to break away from cursed energy. Also to throw in there, in chapter 208, Yuki explained how she was a former star plasma vessel, and she has a connection with the vessels to be able to hear their thoughts within Tegan. I would be a liar to say that Yuki didn't blow away the fandom with her amazing abilities and her lovable personality in her fight against Kenjaku. So let's dive into her abilities and feats. Yuki is an extremely powerful sorcerer that possesses unusual abilities that even the higher-ups didn't know about. She demonstrated her strength in chapter 135, page 18, where she blocked the ice fall formation attack and repelled it to save the Jujutsu High student. Yuki displayed this true extent of her abilities in her battle against Kenjaku. In the fight, Yuki is a master to hand-to-hand combat. During her fight with Kenjaku, she continued to pressure him with her hand-to-hand taijutsu, even after being severely damaged by Kenjaku's domain. This feat alone leads me into Yuki's durability. Yuki trusted Tengen, and instead of using her full domain, she used a simple domain. This in itself was a miscalculation on the good guy's part, because Yuki was hit with the direct effect of Kenjaku's domain, gravity. Yuki was still able to apply pressure to Kenjaku even with all the damage she just sustained, to the point Kenjaku asked her, "Why won't you just heal yourself?" And Yuki's reply was, "I just don't wanna." She eventually fell to her knees and Choso intervened, allowing her to charge herself up, which exposed the weakness to her curse technique. Yuki's curse technique is called Star Rays. It allows her to add mass to her abilities, giving her the strength and prowess to break the laws of physics, explained by Kenjaku after he was hit and severely wounded by one of her punches, which was explained by Kenjaku in chapter 205, page 11. Yuki also has reverse curse technique, where she's able to heal herself from any damage she sustains. And for the final part of Yuki, she wields a Shikigami that she uses as a curse tool called Garuda that allows her to have long-range attacks. And finally, Yuki's battle intellect. In the battle against Kenjaku, Yuki displayed why she was known as a special grade sorcerer, matching Kenjaku's every move and analyzing his abilities and taking mental notes to a point she was able to understand his gravity technique. She figured out the intervals of the attack and also the radius, giving her the confidence to keep the battle close range. But she rushed recklessly into that, which led Kenjaku to get the upper hand on her with a tiny Uzumaki. Yuki has strong intellect, but in a battle against an experienced curse user, she folded under the pressure. But I still feel like Yuki did really well against a character that she knew nothing about. So here's a quick rundown of all Yuki's abilities. Immense curse energy. You know she's a special grade, so she has a larger amount of curse energy than a grade 1. Her innate technique Star Rage allows her to apply virtual mass to herself and her Shikigami Garuda. Applying this technique gives Yuki unbelievable strength and the devastating power to one-shot anybody that she chooses that doesn't have reverse curse technique. Yuki also has reverse curse technique, so she's able to heal herself. And let's not forget about Garuda, her Shikigami that connects to her technique and also gives her the ability to use it in long-range strategies. And her barrier technique, simple domain. But let's talk about the drawbacks of Yuki. Her biggest drawback for me is if she sustains damage and uses reverse curse technique, she no longer has the ability to use her Star Rage. She has to wait until her energy replenishes, then she's able to use Star Rage, which was displayed in chapter 207, page 8. Choso says she needs to power up Star Rage and that she needs to heal herself. In the following page, after Yuki uses reverse technique, she announces it slowed down Star Rage, which allowed Kenjaku to escape her attack. The final drawback to Yuki's innate technique is that she can't use Star Rage to increase her durability. If Yuki was able to increase mass to her body alone, she would be probably the most broken character in the series, but she can't, and this was stated by Kenjaku before he hit her with a tiny Uzumaki and cut her in half. Let's just address the black hole argument before we even start and move on to Yuta. Yuki using the black hole ability is a draw con, it's not a win con, and she does not scale to a black hole. The black hole is created by Yuki stacking mass on top of mass on top of mass on herself, not by outputting curse energy, which was explained by Yuki in chapter 208, page 11, page 2, and page 13. With all this being said about Yuki, she is no slouch, and Yuki is definitely a heavy hitter. But let's introduce Yuta Okosuku, the special grade sorcerer. Narrative speaking, Yuta is always being compared to GOJO. In chapter 139, page 18, Yuji, Choso, Nohoya all sensed Yuta's curse energy and compared him to GOJO sensei, but realized it was something creepier. In the Culling Games, when Yuta entered the Sendai colony, the narrator stated, 3 months after the night parade of 100 demons, Yuta came back to become a powerful special grade sorcerer, second only to Satoru Gojo in unusual abilities. We also had one of our community translators named Red Lightning that explained that this translation means that Yuta is second to Gojo. It doesn't matter if they just said unusual abilities. Unusual abilities in the series Jujutsu Kaisen means strength. We were introduced to Yuta Okosuku in the volume 0 one-shot one-shot manga where we see a young boy cursed by a special grade spirit called Rika. Rika was his ex-lover that died in a car accident. After Rika stuck 3 of Yuta's classmates in a locker, the higher-ups of Jujutsu Kaisen set an execution on his head to have him killed because Rika was uncontrollable. GOJO intervened and Yuta was placed under his care. This started the journey of Volume 0, where we see Yuta, knowing how weak he was, gain strength by training with Maki and GOJO, learning how to use his curse technique and abilities, and eventually unlocking the boundless power of Rika that gave him the edge to defeat Geto, another special grade sorcerer. In their final clash, and offering his life to Rika, this allowed Yuta to release a beam that overpowered a maximum Uzumaki. Just a side note, if Geto had all his cursed spirits and he didn't split them during the events of the night parade, Geto probably would have won that fight. But Yuta defeating Geto is still an amazing feat, because if you remember, Yuta was keeping up with Geto, pressuring him throughout the whole fight, even impressing Geto to an extent. But at the end of the day, Yuta still came on top with the W, which led him to find out the truth that he was the one who cursed Rika. He's the descendant of a sorcerer called Uwara and a descendant of the Gojo clan, making him a distant cousin to Satoru Gojo. When everything goes wrong in the world, the person that Gojo always turns to is Yuta. Yuta is one of the 3 students that Gojo believes will surpass him in the near future. Gojo doesn't seek out Yuki, he doesn't seek out Hikari, and no, a suspension will not stop Gojo from reaching out to Hikari, because Gojo has the same energy as Miles Morales, and yeah, he's gonna do his own thing. Even during the process of being sealed by Kenjaku, the first person that came to Gojo's mind to stop Kenjaku was Yuta. Kenjaku says he doesn't see what's so special about Yuta's copy ability and his immense curse energy, but still, narratively speaking, Yuta's always being put up there as one of the strongest sorcerers in modern day society. Let's look at his abilities and feats within the story before we match him up against Yuki, the heavy hitter. Let's talk about Yuta's intellect. After losing Rika and breaking her free from his curse, he lost the rank of a special grade sorcerer, only to obtain that rank in 3 months, and displayed his immense power during the Goodwill event. Yuta is a child prodigy when it comes to sorcery. Using his intellect, he was able to use 2 curse techniques that he just copied, one from Darai and the second technique from Uro, and Yuta used this technique Sky Manipulation to deflect a granite blast from Ryu, and placing Ryu in the perfect position to get hit by his own attack, winning Yuta the battle. In chapter 43, page 9, Yuta explains that he entered a binding vow with the higher up to execute Yuji, and at the moment where he applied that fatal blow and Yuji's heart stopped, he instantly healed him with reverse technique. Not many people know he can take positive energy as it is and output it, allowing him to kill Yuji and bring him back, and breaking his binding vow with the higher ups, just showing you how much of a sharp thinker Yuta is under pressure. Also to add, this feat that Yuta pulled off impressed SUKUNA, the king of curses, because we clearly see SUKUNA smiling in chapter 41, page 16. Let's move on to Yuta's hand-to-hand combat. Yuta is very skilled when it comes to taijutsu, displaying his hand-to-hand combat abilities and showing how he's not afraid to throw hands close range. We see that in the Sendai Colony fight when he first went up against Ichigori. They both were throwing hands and Yuta was keeping up with Ichigori and applying pressure. An underdeveloped Yuta in Volume 0 was able to keep up with a martial artist like Geto. This speaks volumes to Yuta's abilities in hand-to-hand combat. As you know now, the current Yuta is way stronger than the Yuta we saw in the Volume 0 movie / one-shot. Now let's move on to curse energy. Yuta has the most curse energy out of all the modern day sorcerers. He uses his curse energy to reinforce it in his body to make up for his weaker stature, allowing him to have high durability feats and high strength feats, which was stated by Yuji in chapter 140, page 16. Yuta's large amount of curse energy gives him the ability to use reverse curse technique multiple times in a battle, making it hard to kill him. Ichigori also stated that Yuta's curse energy is bottomless. Yuta is also a weapon specialist because of the training he received from Maki Zenit. When using Rika's full power, Yuta has access to 1,000 different curse tools that he can use to kill his opponent. Let's move on to Yuta's strength. Yuta's strength is on par with Yuji's superhuman strength, which was displayed when Yuji punched a car at Yuta and Yuta was able to throw the car right back at him. When Yuta kicked Yuji in his chest, Yuji stated, "Even a mere forward kick from him is incredibly powerful." Chapter 141, page 8. We also see Yuta break a foundation of cinder block stairs when he first introduced himself as Yuji's executioner, and after defeating Yuji, he knocked out Choso with a single punch. Yuta has superhuman strength, but is nowhere compared to Yuki's strength enhanced by mass. Let's move on to Yuta's durability. When he was facing Ichigori in hand-to-hand combat on page 4 of chapter 177, Ichigori said his outputs and his release of curse energy with near explosiveness. His movements are fast and precise, and if I don't guard myself, I'll take damage. He supports his toughness with curse energy. It's like I'm knocking against a massive water tank. We also see Yuta blocking Ichigori's attack with his bare hand, and Ichigori is known to have the highest output of curse energy in the culling game. Also see Yuta tank a number of attacks from Yuro. In base, Yuta able to keep up with Yuro and also Ichigori for an extended time period before he left his base form and went to full power. Let's talk about Yuta's speed. Because of curse energy reinforcement, Yuta's agility and speed was enough to keep up with the superhuman Yuji, and in the Sendai colony where he was using his granite blast, Yuta ran with incredible speed to close the distance between the two. Yuta also has impressive output when it comes to his curse energy. Nothing like Ichigori, but Yuta can unleash levels of curse energy with a single swing of his sword, like he did when he killed all those cockroaches trying to attack the civilian. Yuta also has the unique ability to convert his reverse curse energy into output and imbue it in his attacks. Yuta also has the Black Flash technique that can enhance his attacks, just like Gojo when he was using it against Sukuna in their battle. Yuta also comes equipped with Rika, the cursed spirit that remains with Yuta after Rika passed away. This version of Rika serves as an external storage of Yuta's curse techniques and curse tools, and gives him access to Rika's boundless curse energy. Rika is no slouch herself. She has incredible strength, which was stated by Yuji when she held him in place, and also has the ability to shoot out her own beams, which threw off Ichigori in the Sendai colony. Finally, Yuta's full power and Rika fully manifested. When Rika is fully manifested, Yuta is able to use all his curse techniques that he has gathered. His innate technique is copy. That means he's able to use curse speech, sky manipulation, Jiraiya's technique to disturb the curse energy of a user using Shikigami and then Ice Breaker. And also to throw out there, in the Sendai colony, Yuta was able to one-shot Jiraiya, defeat the cockroach, and defeat Ichigori in one-on-one combat. And Maki outright stated to Yuta that he is their only insurance if Gojo loses to Sukuna. This happened when Yuta wanted to intervene in the fight to give Gojo a fair fight. Yuta has one weak and one wildcard factor when it comes to his ability. Yuta is only able to use the full manifestation of Rika for 5 minutes, and the wildcard factor is his copy technique. It's not really clear on how he uses his technique. I know in the Sendai colony they displayed it as Rika needs to consume a certain body part, but that doesn't make sense. When Yuta one-shot Jiraiya and copied his technique, we didn't see Rika consume any body parts. Rika wasn't even around. Rika was with the civilians and protecting them, and we didn't see him consume a body part of Inumiki to get this ability. So his curse technique of copy is a wild card because it's very unclear on how he uses that ability. But let's see how these two match up against each other, and this is my honest opinion. Yuta will win high difficulty. But before we start this fight discussion, I want to throw out there that the black hole technique is a draw con, not a win con, and I don't see these two characters blitzing each other. The argument that Yuki will just use her mask to destroy Rika right away is very unlikely because Yuta never starts a battle off immediately with Rika. He always keeps Rika hidden and continues to fight with his base abilities to exploit the techniques of the other sorcerer. In this fight, I'm not including their domains. Both of these characters' domains are featless, so using them in the argument is pointless. So back to the matchup. I feel like this fight will start off exactly how it started, with Yuki versus Kenjaku. Yuki is going to use Garuda to launch an attack at base Yuta. She's going to land Star Rage and send Yuta flying, snapping him like a twig. But Yuta is going to use his reverse technique to heal himself, and at that very moment, Yuta will know that he's no match for Yuki's physical prowess using Star Rage. This is where Yuta will begin to cook and use the full manifestation of Rika. Using his intellect, Yuta will understand that Garuda gives Yuki striking range, so he will use Kurt's speech to pause him, just like he did in the Sendai Colony fight. Freezing Yuki in place, he will be able to use Rika to destroy the Shikigami Garuda. Like I said, Rika is no slouch. She has super strength and the ability to shoot out a beam that can destroy Garuda. With Garuda being destroyed, Yuta will be able to go heads up with Yuki, using sky manipulation to keep her Star Rage in place, Derai's innate technique to disrupt her curse energy. If he's able to land a crucial blow, he can go ahead and consume a body part using Rika to learn's mass. But it doesn't honestly stop there. His durability and Rika's boundless curse energy in full power will allow Yuta to heal himself if he takes any more damage. Using his intellect, he will be able to exploit Yuki's weakness of her Star Rage and hit her with a high output beam like he did to Geto when Geto used his Maximum Uzumaki in the Volume 0. Also, let's not forget that he has the ability to use Black Flash. This battle will eventually turn into a battle of endurance, and Yuta will have the upper hand in this situation. He was able to defeat 4 special grade sorcerers in less than 5 minutes in the Sendai Colony, so going against Yuki by herself is going to be too easy for the character. Using one of his curse tools, he will land the finishing blow on Yuki and take the battle, but it will still be high difficulty. The only reason why I say this is because Yuki is now dead and her stats will remain where it's at, while Yuta has an incoming battle against Kenjaku that will really show us his full power. So this high difficulty battle on Yuta's end can be lowered to a mid difficulty or a low difficulty fight based on the new stats that Yuta will gain moving forward in the series. But that's just my opinion. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if I said anything wrong and you disagree with anything I said, pull up in the comment section and let me know how you feel. I'm out.